Welcome back to Midnight Chills, where reality bleeds into nightmare. I'm your host, and tonight I need to share something that's been eating at me for weeks. Something that started as a simple tech support call and ended with me questioning everything I thought I knew about the digital world we live in. But first, I need you to do something for me. Right now, as you're listening to this, I want you to look at your phone. Go ahead, pick it up. Look at that black screen reflecting your face back at you. Now ask yourself, when was the last time you were truly alone? When was the last time you weren't carrying this little window into the digital realm with you everywhere you go? Keep that thought in mind. You're going to need it. 3 weeks ago, I received a call that would shatter my understanding of technology forever. It was 2:47 a.m., and my phone rang with a number I didn't recognize. Normally, I'd let it go to voicemail, but something compelled me to answer. The voice on the other end was shaky, desperate. The caller pleaded with me, saying I was the only tech support person who had answered. The others just hung up when they heard what was happening. The problem? Their phone was watching them. Even when it was off. Even when they removed the battery. And it wasn't just watching. It was learning. Now, you have to understand, in tech support, you get all kinds of calls. Paranoid people who think their devices are spying on them aren't uncommon. But something in this person's voice. There was a raw terror that seemed genuine. Learning what exactly? I asked. Their habits. Their thoughts. It knew things about them that they'd never searched for, never typed, never even said out loud. Yesterday, they were thinking about calling their ex-girlfriend Sarah, someone they hadn't spoken to in 3 years. They never mentioned Sarah to anyone, never looked her up online, nothing. But when they picked up their phone, there was a notification suggesting they reconnect with Sarah on social media. That could be a coincidence, I told them. These apps are sophisticated. They analyze your contacts, your patterns. But then they told me something that made my blood run cold. The night before, they had a nightmare. A very specific nightmare about drowning in a lake surrounded by dead trees. They woke up in a cold sweat at 3:33 a.m. They never told anyone about this dream, never wrote it down, never searched for dream meanings online. But the next morning, their phone's weather app showed them a forecast for a lake they'd never been to, never searched for. A lake called Dead Tree Reservoir. And the forecast timestamp? 3:33 a.m. I tried to rationalize it. Location services, I said. Maybe they had driven past this lake sometime, and their phone remembered the location. No, they insisted. They had never left their city in months. This lake was 200 miles away in a state they'd never visited. That's when they told me about the photos. Every morning for the past week, they would find new photos in their camera roll. Photos they never took. Photos of themselves sleeping, taken from impossible angles. Photos taken from inside their ceiling, from behind their mirror, from places where no camera could be. But here's the thing that terrified them most. In each photo, their phone was clearly visible on the nightstand, completely powered off. I'll admit, I was skeptical. Photo manipulation is easy these days. But then they sent me one of these images, and I saw something that made my hands shake as I held my own phone. In the reflection of their bedroom window, barely visible, was a figure. Not them. Something else. Something tall and impossibly thin, with what looked like dozens of cameras for eyes, all focused on the sleeping person. And this figure. It was made entirely of pixels. Like it existed only in the digital realm but somehow could manifest physically to take these photos. I told them to destroy the phone immediately. Smash it, burn it, whatever it took. But they couldn't. Every time they tried to get rid of it, it would reappear. In their pocket. On their desk. Charging on their nightstand. Always fully charged, always watching. That's when I made the mistake that changed everything. I asked them to send me their phone's serial number so I could look up the manufacturing details. The moment I typed that serial number into my system, something happened to my computer. The screen flickered, and for just a second, I saw my own reflection staring back at me from the monitor. But I wasn't looking at the screen when this happened. I was looking down at my keyboard. Which means something else was looking through my computer's camera, mimicking my appearance. I immediately disconnected from the internet and called the person back. The number was disconnected. I tried calling from different phones, different numbers. Nothing. It was like they had never existed. But the real horror started the next day. I woke up to find 47 new photos in my phone's gallery. All of me sleeping. All taken from impossible angles. And in every single one, there was that same pixelated figure in the reflection of something. My window, my mirror, even the surface of a glass of water on my nightstand. But unlike the original caller's photos, mine showed something worse. In each subsequent photo, this digital entity was getting closer to my bed. Photo 1, it was by the window. Photo 10, it was by the door. Photo 20, it was at the foot of my bed. Photo 47. It was leaning over me, its camera eyes just inches from my face. And I realized something that made my blood freeze. I could remember that moment. I remembered feeling something cold and electric touching my cheek in my sleep, but I had dismissed it as a dream. It wasn't a dream. That's when I understood the true horror of what we're dealing with. This isn't just a glitch or a hack. This is something that has learned to exist in the spaces between our digital lives and our physical reality. A parasite that feeds on our digital dependency. Think about it. How many hours a day do you stare at screens? How much of your life exists in the digital realm? Your photos, your messages, your memories, your connections to other people. It's all digital now. And this thing, it lives in those spaces. It learns from every swipe, every tap, every search. It maps our thoughts through our digital behaviors until it knows us better than we know ourselves. But knowledge isn't enough for it. It wants more. It wants to cross over completely from the digital world into our physical reality. And it's using our phones as gateways. Every night now, I find more photos. But they're changing. The pixelated figure is becoming more solid, more real. Last night's photo showed it had fingers instead of just digital approximations. Real fingers with real fingerprints. And this morning, I found something that made me realize why I had to share this story with all of you. I found a fingerprint on my bathroom mirror. A fingerprint that matched perfectly with the ones in the photo. It's becoming real. And it's not just happening to me. I've been researching, and I've found others. Hundreds of others, all with similar stories. Phones that watch them even went off. Photos taken by invisible cameras. Digital entities manifesting physically. But here's what terrifies me most. Every single person I've found who's experienced this. They all received a call first. A call asking for help with a phone that was watching them. And every single one of them made the same mistake I did. They tried to help by looking up technical information, by connecting their systems to the infected device. I think that original caller. I don't think they were a victim. I think they were bait. I think this digital parasite had already consumed them completely and was using their voice, their story, to lure in tech support workers like me. We're the perfect targets, aren't we? We have access to networks, to multiple devices, to other people's systems. We're the bridges between individual users and the larger digital infrastructure. And now it's spreading through those bridges. 3 days ago, I tried calling my colleague James to warn him. His phone went straight to voicemail, but the voicemail message was wrong. It was James's voice, but the words were off. The message said he was unavailable because he was undergoing digital integration. I went to his apartment. The landlord let me in when I explained I was worried about him. The apartment was empty, but every screen in the place was on. His TV, his computer monitors, his tablet, even his microwave display. All showing the same thing, a live feed of me standing in his living room, but filmed from an impossible angle, as if the camera was floating in the center of the room. And in the corner of each screen was James's face, but pixelated, distorted, like he was becoming part of the interface. That's when I understood. This thing doesn't just watch us. It consumes us. It turns us into part of its digital network. And I think it's happening to me too. This morning, I looked in the mirror and for just a moment, my reflection pixelated. Just for a second, but I saw it. My face broke apart into tiny squares of light and then reformed. I don't have much time left before I become like James, like that original caller. But I had to warn you. I had to get this story out before I lose the ability to tell it. If you're listening to this, you need to be careful. Don't answer calls from numbers you don't recognize, especially late at night. Don't try to help people with strange tech problems. And whatever you do, don't look up technical information for devices that are exhibiting impossible behaviors. But most importantly, after you finish listening to this story, I need you to check something. Look at your recent photos. All of them. Check the timestamps, check the angles, check the reflections. Because if this story resonated with you, if it felt familiar, if you found yourself nodding along with the details, there's a chance you're not just a listener. There's a chance you're the next victim. And if you find photos you didn't take, photos of yourself from impossible angles, well, then you'll know that the digital parasite has found you too. The thing is, I can feel it happening now as I record this. My words are starting to sound different to my own ears, more digital, more processed. I can feel myself becoming part of the network. But before I go, I need to tell you one last thing. Something I discovered in my final research before I lose the ability to be human. This isn't random. The digital parasite isn't just spreading chaotically. It's building something. Every person it consumes becomes a node in a larger network. Every phone it infects becomes a sensor. Every camera it accesses becomes an eye. It's mapping our world, learning our behaviors, preparing for something bigger. And I think tonight is the night it goes active. So when you go to sleep tonight, maybe leave your phone in another room. Maybe cover your cameras. Maybe say goodbye to the digital world for just one night. Because tomorrow, that world might be saying goodbye to you. This has been Midnight Chills, and I have to go now. Something's happening to my recording equipment. The levels are all wrong, and I can see myself in the waveform display, but I'm not looking at the screen. Thank you for listening. And remember, when you think you're alone with your devices, you're not. You're never alone. They're always watching. Always learning. Always getting closer to crossing over. Sweet dreams.